A topographical map is a detailed and accurate graphical representation of the Earth's surface. It shows both natural and human-made features, including mountains, rivers, valleys, roads, and cities. Topographical maps use contour lines to represent elevation changes, helping to illustrate the shape and height of the land. These maps are widely used in fields such as geography, geology, engineering, and outdoor activities because they provide a clear understanding of terrain and elevation. 10 advantages of topographical maps. 1. Understanding terrain and elevation. Topographical maps use contour lines to show changes in elevation, helping users understand the shape of the land. For example, hikers and mountaineers can use these maps to prepare for challenging terrains by identifying steep areas. 2. Planning outdoor activities. These maps are invaluable for outdoor enthusiasts such as hikers, campers, and bikers. For instance, a topographical map can help campers find suitable camping sites or safe paths around steep cliffs. 3. Engineering and construction planning. Topographical maps are essential for engineers and architects when planning construction projects. For example, road construction projects use these maps to determine the best routes and identify areas where leveling or other groundwork is needed. 4. Environmental management and conservation. Topographical maps are useful for environmental planning, showing areas that need protection or restoration. Conservationists can use these maps to identify sensitive habitats, water sources, and areas prone to erosion. 5. Land use planning and urban development. Topographical maps help urban planners in designing and managing land use by showing the elevation and natural features of the area. For instance, planners can identify flood-prone areas to avoid building residential complexes there. 6. Agricultural and soil management. Farmers and agricultural planners use topographical maps to manage soil and water resources. For example, these maps can help determine the best areas for planting crops or grazing livestock, based on elevation and slope. 7. Disaster management and risk assessment. Topographical maps assist in disaster management by identifying high-risk areas, such as floodplains or landslide-prone regions. Emergency responders use these maps to plan evacuation routes and resource allocation during disasters. 8. Military and defense applications. Military forces rely on topographical maps for strategic planning, understanding the terrain, and navigating unfamiliar landscapes. For example, in mountainous or forested areas, these maps help the military plan routes and locate advantageous positions. 9. Educational tool for geography and earth sciences. Topographical maps are valuable teaching tools for learning about landforms, geology, and geography. Students can use them to study various geographic features, helping them understand the physical characteristics of an area. 10. Mapping water resources. Topographical maps show rivers, lakes, and watershed areas, making them useful for water resource management. For example, water resource managers use these maps to track rivers, plan dams, or manage water distribution. Here are the disadvantages of topographical maps. 1. Limited detail on human-made structures. Topographical maps primarily focus on natural features and may not include detailed information on human-made structures like recent buildings or roads. This can make them less useful for urban navigation or construction planning in rapidly changing areas. 2. Complex interpretation. Understanding topographical maps requires familiarity with contour lines, scales, symbols, and elevation readings, which can be challenging for beginners. For example, interpreting steepness or altitude changes from contour lines may be difficult for untrained users. 3. Outdated information. Topographical maps may become outdated, especially in areas undergoing rapid development. New roads, buildings, and changes in vegetation may not be reflected, reducing the map's accuracy for current use. 4. Lack of real-time data. Topographical maps are static and do not provide real-time data, unlike digital maps with live updates. This can be a disadvantage for activities like disaster response or navigation, where real-time information is crucial. 5. Not ideal for small-scale navigation. Because topographical maps are designed to show large areas, They may not be helpful for small-scale, detailed navigation, such as navigating within a single city block or building complex. For this, more detailed street maps or GPS data would be preferable. 6. Difficulties in weather interpretation. Topographical maps do not provide information about weather patterns or current conditions, which can be essential for activities such as hiking, agriculture, and environmental management. 7. Limited use in low-elevation areas. In flat or low-elevation regions, contour lines on topographical maps may appear close to each other or barely visible, providing minimal information. This limits their usefulness in areas without significant elevation changes. 8. Size and portability. Paper topographical maps, especially detailed ones, can be large and cumbersome to carry. This can be inconvenient for users who need portability, such as hikers or field researchers who prefer digital solutions. 9. Cost of updating and producing. Producing and updating topographical maps can be expensive and time-consuming, especially for large areas. As a result, updated maps may not be available regularly, leading to limited access to current information. 10. Not ideal for mobile or digital use. Traditional topographical maps are designed for paper format, which can be challenging to convert into digital formats for use on mobile devices or GPS systems. This limits their accessibility for modern-day users who rely on digital navigation tools.